or welcome back to my channel. I can't believe that I'm actually sitting here getting ready to do the end of the year tag with you guys. As y'all know, this was my first year on BookTube. I posted my first video in January, and I can't believe I'm here to wrap this year up with you guys. I'm so excited. So I have all of these questions, and if you watched any of my videos that requires me to pull books off my shelves, you gotta know that I write everything on sticky notes because that's how I like to create some type of order around here. So let's get into this tag because I think it's gonna be pretty long and I don't want it to be over 30 minutes. So let's get started. So of course, we have a list of questions, and if you want to do this tag, the questions are going to be down in the description box. I have each and every question. Now, I may not be doing the questions in the order that I have them listed in my description box. However, every single question is there, okay? So let's get started. So the first question is most disappointing book of the year. If you guys been here a while, you already know Love After Midnight by Sister Souljah was my most disappointing book this year. I actually don't know why she wrote a third book after we told her that second book was trash. Her husband read the book and said it was trash. So yes, very much disappointing. And I think the reason why I was so disappointed is because she's never evolved. She's still writing like she wrote The Coldest Winter Ever. And I read that in high school. So I'm in my mid-30s and you still writing the same? That's a disappointment. Luckily, I was able to get an ARC for that book, so I didn't spend any coin on that one. But that second one, I still want my money back for that, okay? Underdog book of the year. In my humble opinion, I think a book that I read that was like an underdog book of the year was The Accomplice by 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson. And the reason why I say that this book was an underdog in my opinion is because we know 50 Cent as a rapper, the actor. He has some memoirs, he got some self-help books. We had no clue how he was going to be coming with a fiction novel. And he came with it. He came with it, and I feel like not enough of y'all have read that book yet, but I also feel like when y'all do read it, y'all gonna hate that y'all waited out on that book. A book that was overhyped, hands down, Curvy Girl Summer. I don't know why y'all hyped that book up like that. It was very disappointing to me. Like, it was okay, but it was not worth the hype. And I already went into a whole bunch of detail about that. If you are new here, go reference that vlog. But I feel like the community that hyped that book up, hyped it up because it was specifically about them, which I totally get, right? The curvy girls, they ate the book up. But the storyline, I was just like, we could have did something a little bit better to represent for the curvy girl community. And I feel like that book didn't represent y'all well. I think it gave very much desperate, but that's my humble opinion. And don't you come in my comments talking about what yours was, because I don't even care. So next is the happiest read this year, and I have to go with This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Y'all, this book gave women empowerment. It gave friendship. It gave, baby, I'm gonna pivot and do well. It gave all of the feels. I loved it so much. I hated her husband, but the way Soledad came out of this relationship, it just made me feel so good. Like, it made me so happy for her because I feel like when people are in relationships and that's all they know, they don't know anything else, they always feel like, what's next for me and am I gonna do okay? And then when you have kids, it's kind of like, oh my God, is my kids gonna be okay, right? Soledad, she came out on top, okay? Because that husband of hers was not worth the lint that you find on somebody's carpet, okay? Terrible. But she came out on top, and this book really just made me so happy. So happy that I shedded a few tears. And since I still have this book, the next question is favorite quote this year. And I'm pulling a favorite quote out of this book. I actually wrote it down because it's my favorite. So I'm literally going to read it for you guys. And it's, there aren't enough sonnets for friendship. Not enough signs got the kind of love not born of blood or body, but of time and care. They're the ones we choose to laugh and cry with. When lovers come and go, friends are the ones who remain. We are each other's constants. Like, I loved it. This book gave friendship. It gave friendship. And if you read any of, because this is the second book in that series, in the Skyland series, y'all know it's about 3 best friends, right? And this is the second book. We're still waiting on book number 3 to come out. But the way her friends was there for her, like, everybody wants friendship like that. And I feel like this quote was just spot on, because even if you're in a happy relationship or whatever, keep your friends close, because they're going to be the ones that are there for you no matter what, okay? What side we're right now? Do we hate them today or do we love them today, sis? Because I'm with whatever you with. And that's how her friends showed up for her. And yeah, that's my favorite quote. Most frustrating book of the year. The Housemaid is Watching. I was introduced to Frida McFadden this year. This is my first year reading anything by the author. The Housemaid was my second book by her, but it's my favorite book by her. And so I ate up The Housemaid, then I ate up Housemaid Secret, and we was all waiting for this over the summer, all waiting for book number 3 to come out, only for it to be a disappointment. Like, I'm literally telling people, if you read this book, read the first 5 chapters, then skip to 40. Yes, read the first 5 chapters, then skip to chapter 40, because between 5 and 40, there's nothing. Frida McFadden even mentions that the 3rd book in a series is usually the worst. So she knew. Then she had the nerve to come out with that little novella. And I specifically told y'all, if she came out with anything else pertaining to this Housemaid series, I'm not reading it. I didn't read it. And apparently you can read it like before this one or after. But no, because she already disappointed me with this book. And I just can't. My favorite main character is Henry from Daydream by Hannah Grace. Henry was just so relatable. Henry had a undiagnosed learning disability, and the way he needed to learn was just so special. And I loved how they talked about that in this book, because, and I talked about this in my video when I read this book, because we are taught that there are multiple ways to learn something, but teachers only want to teach one way. And they don't realize how much that can impact people. And it really impacted Henry. And I just related to him so much. He was a Black character. He had like anxiety sometimes, especially when he got overwhelmed. So I was just able to relate to him so much, and I loved him in book number 1 and in book number 2. So when we found out he was getting his own book with his own story, I was so excited for this. So yes, my favorite character this year for sure. New favorite author discovered this year. And y'all, I have a list because, like I said, this is my first year in the bookish community, and you know, just like I know, we are heavily influenced by each other, and we are learning about new authors, sometimes new genres, just trying new things because we are influenced by one another. And I listed 4 authors here. Now, I have many more, but off the top of my head, this is what I was able to gather. So the first one is Tia Williams, 7 Days in June. Now, this was not my first book that I read by her, but this is the one that I have physically to show you guys. But Tia Williams, auto-buy author for me. New favorite. Whatever she puts down, I'm picking up. Lauren Lacey. Now, this is a trilogy. I don't have the third one because the third one I have as an ebook. And I read the third one first as an arc without realizing that it was a trilogy. But these little short novellas are jam-packed. One of them have my favorite trope, found family trope in it. Love her writing. Now, anything she puts down, I'm picking it up. S.A. Cosby. Now, this was my first book that I read by S.A. Cosby. I know a lot of people read Razorblade Tears. I love Razorblade Tears, but I'm going to show this book here because this was the first book that I read of S.A. Cosby. This was actually one of his latest novels. After I listened to this on the audio, I was like, oh yeah, give me some more. Give me some more. The way he writes and just have you engaged in every page that he puts down in these books. Auto-buy author. Waiting on his new release to come out next year. Immediately picking it up. And the last one for the sake of this video, Abby Jimenez. If you know, you know. I shouldn't even have to go into detail about her. She is amazing. This is the only book that I own by her. However, I've read the entire trilogy, the Part of Your World series. So freaking good. I love how she writes male characters. And I don't care what nobody say. She could put us in Delulu land. But Justin in here, I will cross the ocean for you, aka the lake. I love how Abby writes her characters, both male and female, but my favorite are always the male characters, and they're so relatable, and I just love them. So anything she puts down, I'm picking up. New favorite auto-buy author. Best movie adaptation of the year. I've only read one book to movie adaptation this year, and I'm not gonna say this was the best or my favorite, but I'm just gonna mention it for the sake of this question to have an answer. It ends with us. I loved the movie. I enjoyed it. Did it live up to the book? No, but do they ever? Questions that need to be answered. No. Longest book read this year. It was a reformatory. I think it was close to 600 pages. I do not own that one. I borrowed it from the library, but I believe that it's the longest book I read this year because most of the romances that I read are like 400 page range. And this one was pushing the 600 page range. And if I'm not mistaken, that got to be the thickest book I read this year. Shortest book I read this year is called I'll Be Home for Christmas. And that is by the author Zane. It was literally an e-short, which is shorter than a novella. A novella, you get about 100, 150 pages. This e-short was probably like in a 60 page range. A book you have not stopped thinking about. A love song for Ricky Wilde. And I did that via audiobook, okay? And the reason why I did that book via audio was because it was so many mixed emotions, thoughts, and opinions about the book because of the magical aspect and how she went back and forth with time. A lot of people was not able to pick up what Tia Williams was putting down. So I'm like, okay. Usually when I'm trying a new genre, a new author, or something, I like to start with the audiobook because I just need to get the feels. Every feel that Tia put down, I picked up. I cried listening to that book. It was so freaking good. And I think about it so much because I need to own it. It needs to be on my shelf. I'm hoping I get my hands on it before this year is out. The cringiest book you read this year. And I know every time I show this book, I say it's the last time, but because this video is literally the end of the year wrap up, this is really my last time for real, y'all. For real. I don't do taboo tropes. I don't do taboo tropes. I don't do it. I don't mind an age gap, but can the youngest person be 21? Please. Can they be 21? Please. Thank you. An unpopular book that you love. Now, I don't know if this is unpopular for you guys, but on my side of the internet, a lot of people don't talk about it. And if they do, it's usually negative, how slow it was, how they couldn't relate to the character. But this was a 5-star read for me. I related to the character Maddie so much in this book. It was amazing. I actually want to read it again. I just got to carve out time for it because I have so many other books that are new that I have not touched. But I definitely want to read this again. I actually bought the ebook and read it first from the ebook. Loved it so much, I had to go buy me a trophy. So yes, I think it's really unpopular. I don't think a lot of people talk about this as much as I feel like it should be talked about. Highest and lowest rated book you read according to Goodreads, and do you agree? Yeah, I don't have time. I don't have time to be scrolling my Goodreads because I couldn't find an easy way to find that answer. Now, if y'all have an easy way to filter it out, I couldn't find that. Let me know down in the comments. I don't know. So we're gonna skip this one. Book with the most unique concept. I already mentioned this book and I'm gonna mention it again. A love song for Ricky Wilde. We got magical realism. We got time travel plus current time. Was it two POVs? I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 point of views because I know we got the female point of view. And I know I think it was 2 point of views. But it was very unique. And I think because of how unique it was, that's why so many mixed reviews and mixed feelings about the book, because the people wasn't picking up what Tia was putting down. And I respect it. We all can't pick up what they putting down. We just can't. But I think, in my humble opinion, that it was very unique. A book that you would reread, and I'm gonna go with my first 5-star of the year, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I need to get the special edition of this book. I really do. It's very cute. I seen it at Target, but all of the copies they had was damaged. I was not buying it. Love this book down. Anytime somebody asks for a recommendation, I'm going to recommend this, and I'm going to reread it. I don't know if I'm gonna reread it in 2025, maybe 2026, but I will. Reading goal reflection. According to Goodreads, I reached my reading goal a long time ago, like in the summertime. My reading goal was literally 24 books for the year. I've always been a reader, but I've never set a reading goal, and I've never read as much as I do now. Like, I would average 1 to 2 books a month. So that's what I was trying to average this year, 2 books a month. That's where I got 24 books for 2024. But I exceeded that, and I had reached over 24 books. So I pushed my goal up to 50 and I left it there. Well, I exceeded that. As of today, I've read 104 books. So that's where I am for 2024, and it says 2025 reading goal 50 books. That's the max I'm going to set for myself. I'm not racing anyone. I'm literally racing myself. I'm trying to see how many of these new books on my bookshelf I could read before I buy another one. Okay, and I need to concentrate on what's on my shelves. I need to concentrate on that. So we're gonna set the bar at 50 instead of lowballing and do 25 for 25. We just gonna set it at 50. If I exceed 50, cool. If I meet 50, amazing. Under 50, I read. So there's that. And the last question of the end of the year tag is, what are you prioritizing in 2025? These books that are on my shelves. Okay. I have over 100 books, and I know more than half of them need to be read. I am always going to pull from my shelf first. I have a plan. It's a light plan. It's not a heavy plan to make sure I do it. But I'm going to read what's on my shelves. Another thing I'm going to try really hard to do this year, next year, because I didn't do it enough this year, is use my library. I use the Libby app a lot. And here in my city, our library does not carry all the new releases like y'all's libraries be doing. I be watching y'all's videos and I be jealous, because y'all be having the new releases as soon as they're released. Now, I know we can request for our libraries to get the books and stuff like that, but they moving like snails around here. I'm going to try my hardest to check out books from the library first, especially for like books that I want to read that's already been released. Check them out first, then if I love them, buy them as a trophy if I feel like they're trophy worthy. Then reading series back to back. I'm literally in the middle of so many series, and when I think about it, I get easily overwhelmed. And I'm one of these people that like to start stuff and finish. I don't like to leave things undone. So yeah, we're gonna work really, really hard at completing the series next year. I have a plan in place for that. And then I'm not starting a new series until I finish with the ones that I'm currently in, because I'm in a lot of them already. So I would like to say 2024 was a great reading year for me in every aspect, specifically in the bookish community. Like I said, I've always read. I've always had a book club. I'm always reading a book, but I don't think I've ever read over 100 books in a year. And I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of you guys for meeting your bookish goals. I'm just so happy to be here in this community and bonding with you guys and just creating relationships with you guys. Like, this has literally been the best year yet when it comes to building a community and just reading in general. So I'm so happy about how 2024 ended for me, and I hope you are too. Even if you read one book this year, that's a lot, because there's people out here that don't read none. Okay, so be happy about that, because a lot of people just don't read at all, and I don't know what they be doing, but they don't read. So yeah, 2024 was great. I'm so excited to have been sitting here with you guys and wrapping this year up. Let me know how your year went. Did you meet your bookish goals? Give me some of your favorite 5-star reads in the comments. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, ta-ta.